I know you love my quick tip videos, and today we're going to do quick tips for things you can do on the corners of your cards. Now you can do these things on the actual corners of your cards, or you can do them on the corners of any of the layers of your cards, or all of the layers of your cards. Have some great ideas you can use on any or all of your projects. Let's get started. In my last video, I shared 8 creative ways to use designer papers on your projects, and the inspiration for this was our promotion we have going on right now, where with every $60 you spend, you can choose a free item. So we have some amazing, adorable designer patterns, designer papers that you can get right now. And all of these projects I'm showing you today, all the stamps, all the papers, embellishments, everything are items you can get as part of that promotion to pick a free item with every $60 you spend. So let's start and take a look at some of these along with these quick tips for corners. So I made this with this adorable pick a season stamp set where you can fill in the openings on the tree with Easter eggs, flowers, shamrocks, or hearts. And what did I do on this one? It's pretty basic, but I just used a basic corner punch. I know many of us have these in our collections. They might be rounded, they might be angled, they might have some other little decorative touch to them. But what I did that's a little bit different on this than most cards that I have created is, even though my pieces are different sizes and shapes, like I didn't just mat this piece and then round all the corners. I did different sizes and shapes and rounded all of them anyway. And I thought it was a pretty cool look. So you can try this on your card projects. My next idea is to use punches in really creative ways on some of your corners. So I have shared tips like this in the past, and it was actually one of my most popular videos of all time. So we're going to use a regular punch that has nothing to do with corners to create some pretty corners on here. So here's the stamp set I used for this, the big large word day with lots of stamps you can pair with it. Another one of those options right now, free during celebrations. So how you do this with these, you probably need a narrow strip. And it depends. Now, if you have a bigger strip, you might be able to put just one corner into a punch. You're going to have to play around with the punches in your collection to see what you have and what might work with this. But I just wanted to show you, this one is called the To the Point label punch. And you have to slide your paper in. You want to leave it on top like this, so it's only going to cut the one end. It's not going to cut this end down here. Get it aligned however looks nice, and go ahead and punch that. And we get this cute little edge. Now, if our piece was bigger and if the punch was a little bit different, we might do the corners separately, but since it is just working out the way it is, we're just doing one each of the ends this way, but we'll punch this one also. And we get this cute little decoration from that punch that was totally different than, you know, just punching out a little piece of paper. I love using my punches in creative ways like this. So we'll add this and finish this card up. This adorable mushroom paper is one of those celebration options. Let's do another one of these. But we're going to do it with another unique punch. We're going to do it with a star punch. And here's another one that I created this with that same stamp set. Some more beautiful floral paper that's part of one of the paper pack options. But here's what I'm going to do on this one is line up this star in the center, and it creates this cute little banner edge. I really enjoy looking through my collection sometimes, my punch collection, to see which ones of these can I use in fun ways to create some really neat corners. So we'll pop this up real quick. My next one, I can't wait to share with you. We are going to just use a pen and just draw some patterns onto the corners. So I'll show you that here in just a second. And I used a really fun stamp set on this next one. So here we go. What a wonderful day with those nice edges. Okay, this next one, really fun card, cute little seagull. I used the Hey Friend stamp set, but on this one, I just used a marker. You can use a pen or a marker and just draw some corners. So here are some examples of some patterns you could draw. And as crafters, even if we don't think we're creative, we do all have some creativity inside. Some of you all have a ton of creativity. So you can come up with all different kinds of patterns, but this one I did swirls, little dots, just straight lines, and dashes or stitching. And you can do this on several of your corners or all of them. One thing I actually like to do, which I didn't do on any of these, is to do a pattern or design on opposite corners diagonally. So that's something you can try if you like. Here's that adorable stamp set, one of the free options, Hey Seagulls. And we'll have one more here in a little bit that I'll show you with that one. Next, let's look at, this is actually what inspired me to do this tutorial, the Corner in Bloom stamp set, because it is designed to use for corners. So great idea is just to stamp the corners. Now, if you don't have a stamp set that is made for corners specifically, you can use a smaller stamp, like let's say one of these flowers or that one, and you can stamp a pattern in a corner with several small stamps stamped several times. Okay. Another beautiful paper pack. I love these sequins, one of those celebration options. Next, this idea is to stamp those corners, and I did this with that same stamp set, and then trim around them so you get a beautiful design. I already did most of this, but we'll finish it up here, and then I'll show you how it's going to look on the card. And you can see, oh, I'm giving away my secrets. I stamped this once and it didn't go the way I wanted it to. Does that ever happen to you? So I stamped it again on this other side and it worked out better the second time. So look at that one. I just love how this turned out. This, I was debating what greeting to add in the center, and I ended up stamping this from, this is another one of those options you're going to see here in a minute. It's called Heart Shaped. It actually comes with a die set that coordinates. For that one in the corner set, you actually have to spend $120 to get those free. But I was debating what greeting to put on the inside. I didn't have any greetings that were big enough to fill that space up, and I thought I was going to add the heart, which seemed a little bit, this is a little busy for my taste, but after I got it done, I actually really liked it. So you should tell me in the comments if you like this or think it is way too busy. Okay, next, here is the other one I made with that seagull set. I didn't use the seagulls here. I love you more than French fries, and I stamped all the French fries. This would be fun for kids or anyone that you love more than French fries. So my idea on this one, as you can see, is just to trim the angles off, trim off some little corners with your scissors. You can trim off smaller corners, you can trim off bigger corners. What I have found with this technique is the more I try to trim off, the more chance I am going to make them really uneven. So I keep them smaller, and even when they are uneven, I just go with it because nobody else is going to notice besides me. So that's another idea. And last but not least, we're using this heart set. Let me show you the dies. And we are going to finish off this card right here. I have already prepared the background. As you can see, I need a little bit of Coastal Cabana ink on my blending brush. Blending brushes are one of these tools. I don't use them on all of my cards by any means, but I just love the effect they create when I do pull them out and use them. Now, most of the time when I'm adding ink to the edge of a card or the edge of a card layer, I would add it all the way around. But for this, we're talking about corners. Let's just do this on the corners and see how it looks. And I really like how it is looking, especially on the card base that I already prepared. I thought that part looks really nice. We just need to finish it off with this. So we'll pop this up real quick. So while I am finishing this one, I'll tell you, I want to show you, let's see, I already showed you the fruit card. So I'll just share with you a few little details about Celebration while I'm finishing this up. I hope you'll stick around. I get a lot of questions about the special diet I've been on, and that's what I'm going to talk about here in just a minute at the end of this video. So you can see, you may be wondering, like, what am I doing? Well, I've used up most of the dimensionals on the sheet, and then I just cut or tear the ones that are left around the edges to use up the rest of those pieces. So a few details about Celebration real quick. Like I said, with every $60 you spend now through the end of February, you can choose one of those free items. A couple of the items you do have to spend $120 to get those for free, but most of them are free. With $60, we have all those stamps, 3 or 4 different paper packs that you saw most of, some embellishments, just some really neat options. And there's no limit to how many of those you can earn. So you can spend 60, choose one, spend 120, choose 2. If you get to 150, you're going to start getting free product credit. You'll get $15 in free product credit to spend on anything you want as part of our current host rewards. And once you get to 180, then you're going to get 3 items in the host rewards. If you or you and a few friends happen to put in an order for $300, you are going to get, I believe, $66 in free product credit plus 5 free items. So that is a really great deal. And then the rewards keep adding up from there. At $450, you get to choose a 50% off item. There's lots of things. So let's flip the camera around. I should mention that we do also have a sign-up special, which is the best offer of all. If you want to buy the starter kit, which you get to choose the products in the starter kit. It's not some pre-selected bunch of stuff. You get to choose what comes in it. We have 2 options right now. You can get $155 worth of products that you choose for $99, or you can get $125 worth of products for $99, plus any 2 of our Stampin' Write marker sets and a stamp set that Stampin' Up! Has chosen. It's like a $216 value or somewhere around there. You get all of that for $99. So put links in the video description below for that, for Celebration, for all the things. What I want to share with you about today is a little bit about the diet that I have been on. So the diet that I have been on is called the GAPS diet. The reason I decided to talk about this today is to talk a little bit about this book, actually. So I've been on this diet for like 2 years. It's all about healing gut health. If you hear about gut health or leaky gut, this is starting to become a lot more well known. I hope doctors start to catch on and talk to people more about these things. Hippocrates, right? That's his name, I think, right? He was like the father of science, like thousands of years, or medicine, I'm sorry, father of medicine, like thousands of years ago. He knew, there's all these quotes from him about all these wellness things that no one knows anymore, but they knew thousands of years ago. It's funny, right? We know so many things. We have all the information in the world at our fingertips. And we're just rediscovering things that they knew thousands of years ago, and it's finally catching on again. But so all of our wellness begins in our digestive system. If our digestive system is not working properly, we have tons and tons of living things in there that help us work properly, bacteria, and there's fungi in there and all kinds of things, lots of things that shouldn't be. There's a lot of bad bacteria that are taking over and causing problems for people. But when things aren't working the way they're supposed to, then we develop health problems. They might be mental health problems, they might be physical health problems, but all of it starts there. So this diet that I'm on, it's called the GAPS diet, as you just saw in the book. It's not new. It has been around for a similar version of it for like 100 years. There was a doctor about 100 years ago using this diet for mental health issues. I believe schizophrenia was one of them. And I don't know what, I forget what else, maybe bipolar, maybe some things. He was healing people of these mental health conditions with diet. When I first discovered this diet, I was laying in bed. I thought I had COVID. I was trying to stay away from my family, not feeling well, scrolling my phone, looking at things. I was on this website for this woman that I like. It's called Traditional Cooking School is the blog, is the website I was on. And she talks about making sourdough bread and grinding your own flour and all these things that I was getting interested in. And I saw this link to the GAPS diet. Didn't know what it was. I'm like, oh, I've never heard of that. I wonder what it is. Clicked on it to look at it. And on this first page, it talks about a woman who's doing this to heal her child of autism. I'm like, well, that sounds made up. But I read enough that I was like, I want to learn more about this. So I requested the book written by Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. She's kind of the ringleader of this whole movement at the moment. And when I read this book, it told me my whole life story of my childhood and how I have felt my whole life, and having too many antibiotics and sugar cravings and getting older and allergies and all these things. It made perfect sense. And then I gave it to my daughter when I had her, because generationally this gets worse. She was born with eczema. That's why she's been on the diet with me. Whole thing. Told me my whole life story. So the diet is temporary. It's temporary to heal you. And then once people are healed, they can usually go back to eating more reasonable, more of a normal diet within moderation. Now, the standard American diet is terrible. There's a lot of things in food that are not food. We need to be eating food and real ingredients, and our bodies are getting really angry when we're putting so many things that are not food in our bodies, and all the weird things we're putting on our bodies in soaps and makeup and lotions and potions and whatever, weird things in our houses from the fragrances and like candles and things. Like most of those fragrances, unless they're natural, they say have hormone disruptors. They cause all these problems. Okay, so the diet is to heal my digestive system. Some people can be healed in several months. They said when she wrote the book in 1980, a lot of people could be healed in 2 years. Things have gotten a lot worse since then. I've been on it 2 years. We're still going. I'm hoping in maybe like another year, I'll be able to ease my way off of the diet, but we will see. So big parts of what I am doing, because of the diet, this isn't like my plan. I didn't make this up. Big parts of our diet I want to share because it's so different from what we are told is healthy for us. We're told low fat, low salt, all these things. Friends, our bodies were not made for that. A lot of us are salt deficient. I've talked about healthy salt, Celtic sea salt, Baja Gold, Redmond's real salt. These are some of the good salts. Good salts have color because they have a lot of minerals in them. So that's one of the things. Salt is important for what I'm doing. Probiotics are huge. Probiotics. I've taken antibiotics how many times in my life? I'm not sure. I cannot count. Now I have to rebuild all of the good things I killed with probiotics. And we're not talking about probiotic pills. What is mainly recommended with what I'm doing is probiotic foods, which are supposed to be, like everything, much more usable by our bodies than things that we take in pill form. So if we're getting our nutrition in our foods, it's a lot more usable than if we're taking the pills for the same things. So probiotic foods, things like yogurt, kefir, which is similar to yogurt, but much more loaded with probiotics. Homemade sauerkraut. I make all these things myself because the ones from the store mostly have weird ingredients, and I'm not allowed to have that right now. Nothing processed. So homemade dairy products that are cultured or fermented. And then sauerkraut is one of the absolute best. And then other fermented vegetables like beet kvass is a drink that is really good for your liver and detoxing and all kinds of things. So They have these good bacteria that start to replenish all the good things that have been killed off by antibiotics and food that isn't food and other medications. There's lots of things that are hurting our gut health that people aren't really talking about. So probiotics are a big thing. Fat is what is supposed to heal and seal the lining of my digestive system. So when I talk about gut health, I like to share, like, so many people are having food intolerance problems where you can't eat gluten, or you can't have dairy or eggs, or there's lots of variations. But the problem isn't the food. The problem is that the digestive system is leaky. The gut has become leaky, and that food is leaching out into your body undigested. Our bodies aren't digesting things properly. They're not getting broken down the right way because things aren't going right. Leaches out into your body reacts because those things aren't supposed to leach out into your body undigested. So I'm rambling. I get long-winded. Fat, eggs, lots of meat, butter, sour cream, all the things, coconut oil, all the meat and all the fat I want. It is recommended that meat be pasture raised if possible. A lot of what I eat isn't, some of it is. But just because the content of the fats and the nutrients in there is more of what our body needs and less of what is causing like inflammation and lots of problems in our body. So this book right here, I am finishing it up right now. I should have read it 2 years ago. But this is loaded with interesting nutritional information and things about like strange toxins in our food that shouldn't be there. Just really interesting things. I came across a couple of days ago an adrenal burnout shake. So I believe because of stress and exhaustion, I think my adrenals are probably shot. I think a lot of us, our adrenals are probably shot. I heard a while back that, so the big coffee craze, I can't function without coffee, that is probably related, like if you can't function during the day without coffee, that may be a sign that you have problems with your adrenal glands and they have kind of shut down. And then adrenals and thyroid are related. Tons of people are on thyroid medicine or having problems with their thyroid. I've never been on medicine, but I'm trying to heal mine through all of this. Anyway, there's all these things that are related, but this adrenal shake, I have had it twice this week, and I'll tell you what's in it in a minute. I'm going to tell you if you get weirded out by strange foods, you may not want to listen because it's going to sound really weird and gross probably. But this adrenal shake, I've had it twice. Yesterday was the second time I'd had it. Oh no, I had one this morning as well. So today was day 3. I have not felt as well as I felt this morning in quite a while. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is it this adrenal shake? Like, I'm so exhausted in the mornings and I don't know. So what's in my adrenal shake? If you don't want to hear about weird foods, change the channel. It is homemade sour cream, pasture raised butter, raw egg yolks, or if you can tolerate them, the raw whites added in. I actually ended up with a white, ended up accidentally the other day, and I was like, okay, I'll just drink it and see if I can handle it. It can cause detox reactions and things for people because it is strongly detoxing. And apparently raw egg white purges heavy metals from your body. Wow, I noticed some detox reactions going on after I drank that. Raw egg, sour cream, butter, a handful of berries, pinch of salt, good salt. I think that's it. I might be forgetting something. But anyway, it sounds weird and gross and like I'm going to have a heart attack, right? Heart problems are from processed, refined carbohydrates, too much pasta, too many hamburger buns, things like this. This is starting to become more well known. It's the processed foods, Sometime I want to talk about, if you are really interested in nutrition and trying to find out what actually is healthy for us and what isn't, because it's very confusing. Very confusing. You should look up the Weston Price Foundation. Weston is spelled Westin. Weston Price Foundation. Really interesting research that a dentist did about 100 years ago in groups of people that had not been touched by society. So he sought out all of these like indigenous tribes of people living in different places across the world, and he studied them. Basically, a lot of it has to do with processed foods. But anyway, so he looked at some of the links between like, well, some of these people are only eating fruit and some of these people eat mostly meat and some of these people, but they were all as healthy as could be, no matter what they were eating. So he looked at the links between what are the common links here? And there's a foundation set up, websites, cookbooks, all kinds of information. Look it up if you're interested. I got windy today. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. I hope you're doing well. Hope you'll be back again next time when I'll be here helping you to hand make with love.